First thing we're going to do is make proper introductions, although we actually have name cards this time, so if you're sitting in the first few rows, you get a little preview. My name is David Ellis. I'm content producer at 343 Industries. Joining me is Frank O'Connor, Franchise Development Director at 343. Next to him, Executive Producer at 343 Publishing, Dan Ayub. Producer on Halo Anniversary, Mr. Dennis Reese. And designer on Halo Anniversary, Chad Armstrong. Shishka. And art director on Halo Anniversary, Mr. Ben Camerano. And looking far too stylish for this panel on the end is our audio director on Halo Anniversary, Mr. Christopher Melrock. We have a ton of content to cover, and not a lot of time, so we're going to dive right in. The original Halo is ingrained in the minds of a generation and the eyes of a generation of gamers. When we decided to do this anniversary edition, we wanted to update the visuals as part of the 10-year anniversary. How did you decide on the visual style that would be used in this update? And can you talk a little bit about the original vision?
Can you guys hear me okay? All right. I hear you loud. You hear me? Hey. So when you're dealing with a franchise that obviously is 10 years old, it's very important to set clear visual goals when you're building this. So one of the first things we did is we actually sat down with franchise and obviously studied what we wanted to do with Halo. So they've been fantastic guidance for us. What we then did is work with the developer to set visual pillars, and there are actually 4 visual pillars that we use for Halo campaign. The first is the, are they up? Are we showing visuals? Okay. The first is heroic vistas. The idea that when you look at a Halo product, you could recognize it by those huge skyboxes and environments. You're in an epic franchise, and we want you to feel that. The second is what we call the Halo aesthetic, or the palette. This is a science fiction that is a much more cleaner, vibrant science fiction. It doesn't mean that it can't have its, obviously, its scary moments or its intense moments. It just means that we don't have to make everything monochromatic and black. We want you to be able to recognize visuals from the images and not having us just label all the screenshots, hey, this is Halo. So I think it'd be hard to argue that when you look at a screenshot from a Halo game, you can tell it's a Halo game. That's a cool picture. The third is the what we call visceral motion or action, and this is actually an area where we tie in audio and visuals together. This is intense. It's a war among different civilizations, and anybody who's played a Halo game knows it's fast action. In fact, my 9-year-old was kicking my butt this morning, playing Halo Reach. The last is the iconic imagery. Obviously, when you're doing a franchise like Halo, you need to know this is a Halo game. That means the civilizations, the characters like Master Chief, the Flood, the Covenant, all need to resonate that, again, when I'm playing this game, this is Halo. Okay?
So I'm wondering, when you guys are kicking it off, were there any kind of transitional elements from the beginning to where we've ended up now and seeing the game in motion? Did any of that vision change throughout the course of the pre-production on the title?
Pre-production was pretty intense. And I think the reason is, one, again, you're dealing with we want to do more than just kind of a standard remake and just slap on up-res normal maps and skyboxes and stuff. We really wanted to look for ways that we can be creative with the title, but still making sure that the fans and the users felt the sensibility of Halo 1. That's why gameplay doesn't change. So I think that was probably the biggest challenge and excitement. How do you create a visual experience and not be able to change gameplay? In fact, we had to look for ways to enhance it.
Well, so we've been showing off some, if you're curious what we've been showing in the background, this is actually some concept art from the early days of the production on Halo Anniversary. And this is kind of the first time showing a lot of this stuff here at a panel, so we definitely want to share that to you. We've seen some of the pictures you've seen in still motion. We thought we'd like to share with you a special extended version of the 343 Guilty Spark demo, maybe show some things you didn't see earlier. So at this point, I'm going to hand it off to Mr. Dan Ayub and Dennis Reese, and they're going to do a demo for you.
Hey everyone. So before I get started, on a serious note, I promised David Ellis I would not swear today.
Boo!
If you saw my panel yesterday, I blew it yesterday when I tried not to do it. So no promises, just this may not be PG. In fact, it probably won't be PG. Okay, so everyone, thanks for coming. My name's Dan Ayoub. I'm executive producer at 343. Driving down here will be the lovely, talented Dennis Reese. Dennis is producer on Halo Anniversary, which is what we want to show you guys today. So, before we get started, I think it's important to kind of go through, at a high level, what were our goals when we started this project. Now, there's probably an easy answer in this room. Who remembers the first time they played the original Halo? Right? Wasn't it bloody awesome? It was an awesome experience, and everyone remembers the first time they played it. So we wanted to be really true to that experience. So it was really important for us to make sure that we were able to just bring back that gameplay and that emotional experience that everybody remembers the first time they played it. On a personal level, I was a PC shooter guy, and I just always said, you're never going to do anything that is going to beat a mouse and a keyboard for me. And then I played Halo for the first time, and it completely changed my life as far as shooters go. And a lot of people had a very similar experience. So we wanted to be true to that and help people relive that experience. So part of that challenge was making sure the game played the same as it did 10 years ago, which is really hard to do. So the way we went about it was actually a pretty interesting technical challenge, was we laced elements of the original Halo code into the game, and on top of that, we married it with a new graphics and audio engine. So what you get is kind of the best of both worlds. You get a game that looks and sounds like a current generation title, but feels the way you remember it. The other great thing you get out of this, you may have heard some talk about it by now, is classic mode. For those of you who haven't heard about it, it is a really, really cool feature. At any point in the game, at the touch of a button, you can swap the graphics back, and the game looks exactly like it did 10 years ago. It is really cool. It is really a magical feature for Halo fans, because it's just so awesome to go back and see the game that you remember 10 years ago. So rather than listen to me talk about it, let's take a look at it. Dennis is going to pop in. While we're loading up here, a quick word, we're going to do something a little different than we did at E3, if you guys saw that demo. We showed Silent Cartographer, and we actually started in new graphics, and we switched to old. We're going to show you guys 343 Guilty Spark today, and we're actually going to start in old and then move into new, because it really, really is a whole lot of fun. And we will hope Dennis doesn't die as 500 people watch him. So here it is. This is Halo 343 Guilty Spark 10 years ago. So the first thing people comment on as they pick up and play is like, wow, this feels exactly the same as I remember. Well, it should. We intentionally did that. And the other fun thing about classic mode, we had some press get hands on this who actually openly berated us for making such an addictive feature, because it's just, people are just going 5 feet and hitting back, 5 feet and hitting back. It's just a whole lot of fun to play with. So this is it. This is it 10 years ago. This is kind of a cool spot. Let's look around a bit. It's like, yep, all right, this is it. Let's see how this looks today. So yeah, it is really, really cool. It's a lot of fun, and the fun thing about this feature is you can do this at any time in the game. You can be in the middle of a fight and hit it, and it's still going to switch. So yeah, it's really a whole lot of fun. So let's get going. As Dennis starts fighting, what you're going to hear is a bit of the new audio effects we've been talking about. We've remastered the weapon effects and the sound effects. But you guys all remember that orchestral sound. Like, Marty's music was just such a huge part of what made this sound great. So we actually worked with Skywalker Sound and their orchestra and kind of re-recorded and remastered all of that. So the game just sounds spectacular. So let's talk about some of the features. I say all the time the core premise of this game was make sure it played the same, but we have features that support that. One of those, and I know this room will truly appreciate, is you're going to get achievements for Halo 1. Yeah, that's something everyone's really happy about. We're really excited to finally be able to do that. Another one is co-op over live. You probably heard some talk about that. It was funny, we were in Germany for Gamescom, and I had people saying, oh, Dan, I'm so glad. I can remember having, and for some reason everyone sounds like that in Germany. I don't know why I'm talking like that. But I can remember stuffing my TV into my car to go play co-op with my friends. It's like, yeah, cool, but you don't have to do that anymore. So Dennis is actually at a cool spot before we go further. What's nice to do is get to a spot like this, look around, and just say, hey, yeah, this is cool. What did this look like 10 years ago? And you can just really see the evolution, It's funny, as we're all game players and game makers here. This, for me, is a really powerful feature because this is just how far our craft and how far our industry has evolved in 10 years. And I just love this feature because it's so great to see how far it's come. I'll come back to terminals in a minute. There's something else we wanted to show. Oh yeah, the Magnum. Yeah, the Magnum's back. So you guys may remember this, the crazy overpowered pistol. It's still crazy, it's still overpowered. And if you paid attention to our announcements yesterday, you can play in multiplayer with the Magnum. So that is, yeah, some people are gonna like that, some maybe not so much. But it is a tremendous amount of fun to just mow through people with this thing. You know, the other thing, obviously we don't have 3D glasses for everyone, but we were showing 3D today. You know, people really liked it. The reason we're doing that is this is something people have invested in. So if you have a 3D TV, you know, it's a fun thing. It's a completely secondary feature. It's not going to change your core gameplay experience at all. So, you know, a word about terminals, and I'm going to be very careful what I say after my conversation with the HBO guys. So, you know, terminals, as you guys may remember, made their debut in Halo 3. A very, very fun feature, a great Easter egg for people to find to learn more about the universe. And we wanted to build on that because that was just a fun thing. People really loved it. So we've gone for a more graphical treatment on terminals that allows us as storytellers to tell a much more emotionally engaging story. And we're going to show you guys some examples in a little while. So we've actually, now what we're doing, we don't usually go this far when we show the demo. We're in the inside, and it's really cool to do some back and forths at this point because this is just a really fun place to check out and see how it looks. We're just having a tremendous amount of fun. I mean, you know, I say a lot, this game is really a love letter, like a thank you to the fans. You know, Bungie created a spectacular franchise, and the fans have kept it going for 10 years. And we just wanted to do this as a thank you, because who would have thought 10 years? I mean, we're at Halo Fest, right? I mean, this game really launched 10 years of a fantastic franchise that we wanted to celebrate. These are some of the features we've been talking about. We're going to be announcing more as we get closer to launch. But everything was about a celebration. I mean, we're launching on November 15th. How cool is that? 10 years to the day from the initial launch at $39.99, right? I mean, we wanted to just do a really... Oh, God, I thought Dennis stuck himself again. That was a little nerve-wracking. So, you know, we just wanted to do something really fun to just, you know, celebrate this franchise and just have some fun and just, like, celebrate this thing that's just been so special to so many people's lives. All right, let's see if he gets it. There it is. All right, so that's pretty much what we wanted to show you guys today from this standpoint. Again, coming out November 15th. I'm sure we'll have some time for some Q&A specifically to come up. From a multiplayer standpoint, 6 multiplayer maps, 1 firefight. 4 of the multiplayers and the firefight are actually here at Halo Fest. If you haven't had a chance to play it yet, do. It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. So thanks very much, and I will turn it back over to Ellis.
So we actually have a special edition. It's good that Dan talked about the terminals real quick. We actually have a special guest with us. Right next to the stage, we have Mr. Tim Nadabo, the voice of 343 Guilty Spark.
Good evening, Reclaimers, and how are all of you? You thought you killed me. I am a genius.
Are you guys having a great time or what? How about this stuff? Is this not badass or what? Because I remember when I was playing Halo 1, I was like, man, I can't see anything. Maybe it's just that I'm in my man cave. And then I watched these guys flip the switch on this, and it blew my mind. It's so awesome when they flip the switch and it goes to like hyper color and hyper depth and okay, I'm geeked. I'm a geek. Guilty Spark is a geek, and yes, he is a gamer. All right, you guys, have fun and enjoy Terminals.
So we showed you a bit of the campaign just now, and we've been talking about the terminals. We also have been talking about the skulls a little bit. You guys may have seen the pre-order exclusive the Grunt Funeral Skull a few weeks ago. We haven't really talked in depth about the skulls at this point. So at this point, I'm going to ask a question of Ms. Chad Armstrong. What can people expect to find with the skulls in Halo Anniversary?
So when we decided to put skulls into Anniversary, we looked at the way skulls have been implemented in the previous games, and some of them you hunted the skulls down, and in Halo 2 you would pick it up and you would have the effect until you restarted your Xbox, basically. With Halo 3 they made it so if you picked it up you could go back and turn it on whenever you wanted. And then by reach, it's just you could turn on the skull. We decided to do more like the Halo 3 route, where you have to hunt down the skull.
And let me say real quick, Chad has been responsible for hiding these skulls, and he is a sadistic man. So some of them are going to be tough to find.
If you remember a lot of, I'll say, if you know a lot of the old tricks people used to spend hours trying to find, exploring, I remembered. And I took advantage of several of them. And several of them might be entirely new to you guys. And some of them are just in stupid, obvious places.
So I believe we've talked about Grunt Funeral Skull, but we haven't really talked about maybe some of the specifics on the other skulls. This morning, I hear you might be willing to share some tips and some secrets.
Maybe announce a couple new skulls.
Would you guys like that? Do you guys want?
Yes. Okay.
I'm not sure there.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna say, no Grunt birthday party, no sale. I'm out.
Grunt birthday party is in. I don't think it would be possible to ship a Halo without Grunt birthday party anymore. But on top of a couple returning classics such as Grunt Birthday, I mean, you guys saw the announcement of Grunt Funeral, which is kind of like the Halo 2 version of Grunt Birthday, where the grunts explode in hilarious plasma death. But that's not the only new skull that we've added to the game. I'll announce one right now. There is a skull called Malfunction, which every time you respawn, a different element of your HUD is no longer there.
Like I said, sadistic.
And let's see, what's another one? Boom. Explosion radiuses are doubled. So think about Grunt Funeral plus Boom.
So can we talk a little bit about, you said you looked back to the way skulls were implemented in previous games. One of the things we've talked about is not wanting to change the core gameplay experience, whether it's AI, the physics, the feel of the weapons and the vehicles. How did that, were there any challenges associated with that, with actually bringing skulls into Halo Anniversary?
It was actually, I mean, the impetus, well, not necessarily the impetus, but really kind of the driving force on the design of this project was that we have this game that people have idolized for 10 years. We can't change it. We want people to be able to experience it exactly as they experienced it 10 years ago. We want people who haven't experienced it to understand why people hold it to such high standards for, compared even to games today. So that kind of made us, frankly, scared when we were talking about adding skulls. We didn't want to do something that could unintentionally cause permanent impact. So we decided right out when we started on the skulls, they can't affect AI, for example. They can't cause animation changes. And then actually, a lot of skulls that you see in Reach, for example, or Halo 3, affect the behavior of other characters. And we actually had to avoid those, which ended up with us making a bunch of really fun new skulls that work around those limitations.
So with that in mind, I wanted to talk a little bit about if you can explain how the skulls will work in the new graphics layer compared to the classic mode.
Well, that's simple enough, actually. Say you find one of the skulls hidden somewhere in the level, and you walk up to it, you don't grab it immediately, and you switch to classic mode, the skull disappears. You cannot pick up or use skulls in classic campaign mode.
All right. So at this point, I wanted to kind of take it over. We've seen the sights. We've heard some of the sounds. So kind of want to go into that a little bit more. At this point, I want to reintroduce you once again to Mr. Christopher Melroth, who's audio director on Halo Anniversary. One of the things you might have noticed in the demo were the updated sound effects and music. Christopher, can you talk a little bit about your involvement with this project and how you came to it?
Yeah, absolutely. So Halo Combat Evolved is my favorite game of all time, and
Suck up.
I've played it many times, and it's very beloved to me, and I have many fond memories of playing it, you know, with friends and doing split screen and doing LAN parties. And so when I had an opportunity to work on it, I was excited and terrified to, basically mess with my own memories, but also everyone else's memories. So we debated a long time about what we wanted to do with this title and how we were going to approach it. And we used terms like celebration, love letter, and being very respectful to the original. So there are several parts of the game that we've gone probably overboard on. We've gone and redesigned, I wouldn't say redesigned, we have gone and enhanced all the original Halo 1 weapon sounds. I've been working with a Halo fanatic down in Los Angeles who's an amazing weapon designer. He's worked on stuff like Black Hawk Down and a couple of games with me, and many years of experience doing, in particular, weapon designs. And he and I have been collaborating on creating essentially a sound that doesn't sound new to you until you hear it against the old. And so we tested some of those sounds on the community by putting out some YouTube videos with the help of David Ellis, and we got a good reaction, and I could finally relax after months of basically chewing my fingernails off and fear of crucifixion. But so thanks to everyone who responded to that thread on Waypoint, because I thought that was really helpful to us to feel like we're zeroing in. Some of the hardest ones, I actually, when we first started, I thought the plasma weapons were going to be the hardest to sort of stay true to the original and enhance. But it actually ended up being all the UNSC weapons that were the hardest. The Magnum wasn't so hard. The sniper rifle was incredibly hard. The AR was by far the hardest. So we've been iterating on the AR. And so you've heard probably in the various videos and campaign videos that have come out over time, different versions of the AR. That's because we've been working really hard on it. And I think we finally got the good AR that we're going to ship in this game, I think, is basically where we're at now. And one of the cool secrets about making the new AR sound was that we had the ability to add variations, and in the original it only had 4 sounds in the directory. And so as we made new versions, we would, one of the cool things about the original AR is it kind of goes, it's really, it's 15 shots per second, so it's got a real high rate of fire, and it's got kind of a, there's almost a stutter to it in the way it sounds. And every time we updated the sound, it would never feel like the original AR. And Peter Zinda, who's been designing the weapons with his team at Soundalux, actually discovered that it was because we had 5 variations. When we took out one variation and we matched the variations to the same number as the original, it instantly clicked. So we were really close with the sound, just basically beating our heads against the table, and getting the new AR sound right was just about actually subtracting. So that's an interesting one. And then, of course, we made a decision early on not to touch any of the VO, so the VO is exactly as it was in the original. All the performances are the same. We haven't reprocessed anything. That's caused some issues as far as anytime you add something new, you have to balance it against the old, and you don't want to touch the old, which means that you're kind of balancing the new instead of balancing everything together. But probably the feature that will get the most attention is our treatment of the music in this one. I think Halo 1 and Marty and Michael's music is just absolutely the greatest video game score of all time, and required listening for anyone, and it's one of the most iconic themes, I think, in pop culture. So we had no interest in making new music, but we thought, I had worked on Halo Legends, and we had done a pretty good job of going back and reorchestrating and re-recording the songs from Halo 1 and Halo 2 for that particular soundtrack. And when it came time to do this one, we wanted to go, it's the 10th anniversary, you can't mess around. So I worked with a great team out of San Francisco called Pure Mind, and Pure Mind has worked on some Halo stuff with us and with me. They've done a lot of the Halo Waypoint motion comics. Mm-hmm. And my friend Paul Lipson put together a team that sat down and transcribed every note of every song, because the original compositions from Halo 1 are actually, they don't exist anymore other than the versions that are shipped in the game. So they had to go through, transcribe every note of every song, recreate synth patches from the original, add a little bit maybe here and there because they couldn't figure out exactly what synth patch that was, but we have a guy named Tom Salta out of New York City who's kind of an encyclopedic knowledge of equipment that was available at that time. And so he could hear something and he'd go, oh yeah, okay, I got it. And he'd go find the thing, and he would, I took drops all the way until actually this week. We were still getting the last few drops. But the big show, the big reason why we wanted to do this was we hired the Skywalker Symphony Orchestra. We went to the ranch and we recorded for 5 days every orchestral cue for the entire soundtrack again. Basically, exactly as you heard it before. In a few cases, we added some brass and woodwinds just to flesh out the orchestration. Marty didn't have the tools that we have today, and so we wanted to enhance it, make it everything that you always wanted it to be, and I hope you guys like it. So there's one thing, we did bring some samples, and no one outside our team has actually heard these before. Would you guys like to hear them today? So what we've got is a little, we got about maybe a minute 50 of just some quick selects, and I hope you guys like it. Thanks a lot.
So it's ironic we're up here on stage, and then often it's the worst seat in the house to see and hear everything. So I'm not sure how that heard out there, how that you could hear that out there on the speakers, but perhaps we can put that medley online so everyone can maybe download it and check it out and listen to it for
Thanks
yourself.
for putting me on the spot there, Ellis. That's
a little
great.
bit on the spot. I might have just made that.
We will also, I think we're making an announcement today about the soundtrack plans. So we're going to do a double CD 10-year celebration that's going to have a lot of cuts.
And sort of the theme of Halo Anniversary is kind of old school. I believe we have something else that we're maybe announcing today as well.
Yeah. For the first time, we're going to do a vinyl release. So we'll do a really high-quality LP as well.
You still have your needles and your records, you'll be able to experience that way. So
Yeah.
I think that's about wraps it up for our panel portion. We're going to take some questions from the audience. It's always the same crowd sitting up front.
Easy now. Easy.
We need security.
Sorry about that. All right, this one's about the skulls.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know how many people in here are a big fan of Randall Glass's Warthog launch. Now you have the boom skull that's essentially doubling that. Is there any other hidden stuff up there that you guys have put in there since?
If it's still hidden, why do you think I'm going to tell you now? Could be. I will point out, though, at one point, Dennis came up to me. This was several months ago, the project. I mean, we hadn't even announced it formally yet. And he's like, Chad, can we do Warthog launches? I don't think we can ship if we can't do Warthog launches. So I loaded up Silent Cartographer, sat down with him, grabbed a bunch of Marines, did terrible, unspeakable things to them, threw a grenade at their feet, and the Warthog sailed beautifully. Just goes to
Yes,
show
we
you
did
that-
verify
yeah.
it. And I'm like, oh, crap, Chad. We didn't actually verify we could do Warthog launches. So, yeah, we sat down. We definitely can do Warthog launches.
Yes.
Hi, my question is about the achievements. since we all know we're going to have achievements in Halo Anniversary, what other what type of achievements will we see besides the completion achievements?
Well, yeah, I mean, you got the obvious ones. You certainly get achievements for playing through the game itself. I don't want to get into too many details. I haven't been told I can get to, but
I'm watching you, Chad.
Don't say anything.
Yes, bosses.
Maybe instead of getting into specific achievements, we can talk about a little bit of.
I will point out that one of the things that I wanted to do when we started working on the achievements is celebrate a lot of the things that fans did with the game well after they were done playing the campaign. So the things people discovered they were capable of doing, the challenges people put towards themselves to try to solve, some of those ended up becoming achievements.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Angelic Lionheart from HBO.
Hi.
I wanted to ask if there are any additions. Can you guys hear me well?
Yeah.
If there are any additions story-wise, just little knickknacks and details. I know we've got the terminals, and I'm really excited about those. And I was hoping that maybe there would be some tie-ins with what maybe was mentioned in Halo the Flood by William Dietz. Maybe some other stuff going on in Alpha Base or all that stuff. Or, other details like just, I don't know, maybe a conversation that didn't happen in the original or something like that.
Mike, everybody's looking at me. I guess I'll answer that one. Short answer is we're not adding any audio Easter eggs of that type to the game. The but is that while you're playing the game in remastered, we have revisited the cinematics themselves. So the shots are a bit different. The animation is refined. So you'll find certainly the cinematics have evolved a bit, if you'll pardon the unintentional pun. But as far as adding other things outside of the terminals, no.
That's pretty awesome. I look forward to the 343 Guilty Spark cutscene the most.
Thank you.
So real quick, I wonder if maybe we could talk a little bit about other Easter eggs in the game and how that plays with maybe classic and new visuals.
The Meg is in. Yeah, no, it was extremely important to us to capture as much of this stuff as we possibly could. So I actually spent a few days, went through the old forums, documented all the Easter eggs, talked to some people over at Bungie. We made sure as much of that stuff was preserved. As you've noticed, the UI has changed. You create a profile differently. So, for example, if you remember the .fortune egg, where when you were creating a name for your character, if you used .fortune, it would give you like a fortune cookie style fortune. That's no longer there. I'm sorry. You could ask the Xbox Live team to do that for you, I suppose. But, the in-game Easter eggs are all intact.
I had a question for Christopher. You said you had to retranscribe the original audio, and I was wondering how long did that take, and what program did you use to do that?
Ears. The program is called Ears, and the poor guys. I was not a very nice taskmaster on this one, so I only gave them a couple of months to do the work, and so we went. We had several people working on it. Paul Lipson, Lenny Moore. It was checked, double checked, quadruple checked, and obsessively gone over so many times before we recorded, because we knew if we got one note wrong, then we'd probably hear from you. So we wanted to make sure it was right, but it was a painstaking process, and they didn't sleep much over the weeks that they were working on that. And then I believe all the arrangements were put together in Logic. So.
Yeah, despite the bad sound quality, the speakers sounded good. So.
Great, thanks.
Hello, excuse me. Did Chad just say that the original Magnum was going to be in the Halo Reach playlist? That 3-shot kill?
Dan did, yes. We're going to have a multiplayer panel tomorrow where we'll get into more details about both the multiplayer portion of Halo Anniversary and the Halo Reach title update.
Is it going to be a still 3-shot kill?
It is a 3-shot kill.
Awesome.
It is an automatic weapon. It keeps its accuracy if you feather the trigger. It loses accuracy if you hold the trigger down. It plays very much like the gun you know and love.
And one more question. You say that you could not see the skulls in the original mode.
Yep.
Is that same with the terminals?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
As we know that you guys said that there's going to be no online multiplayer for that game at all for the anniversary, is there any way we could still do LANs on anniversary?
Absolutely. Yeah, it'll still work on system.
Okay,
Link,
I'm just
definitely.
making sure that's still in there because, I mean,
Absolutely.
Without the LANs, there's no way we could completely bring it back, right? I was
Right.
kind of scared when you guys took that out when you said we were going to add that option, and I was like, well, take the whole multiplayer out.
Well, it uses the Reach multiplayer engine, so all the functionality that you have in Reach, you'll be able to take advantage
Okay,
of.
that's excellent.
And
Thank you.
co-op as well as both System Link and Xbox Live.
All right, cool. We'll bring it back to the classics. And one more thing. I'm pretty sure you guys tinked with trying to shift, as it shifts through the graphics from the original to the new. Were you guys also trying to do the same with the audio? Did you guys ever try to tinker with that?
So that's
Dennis,
a
what
more
can we say?
difficult task.
So we had talked about this a lot early on.
Yes, we did.
The thing is, there are some very technical reasons why it's very hard to stop music and switch to a new file on the fly. And so I think, how much do you want me to say, Dennis?
Yeah, go ahead.
We can say it?
Do it.
Okay, so we're going to give it a menu option. You have to choose before you start playing. And then when you choose a menu option, you can play with classic music. The sound effects thing, we might not be able to get in because it requires a lot of branching and everything. But music will definitely be playable as the original.
And okay, so doing the music, doing both of them, what would you say what was harder, the music transition or the media transition for the
And
visuals?
real quick for your answer, that's going to have to be your last one so we can start moving through the line.
Thank you. I couldn't hear the question. Okay, sorry.
Hi, I'm Sang Helios from the Mythic community. I had a question about the skulls. I know you said that you're staying far away from the skulls that really affect the AI itself. Does that include skulls that affect characteristics such as Mythic doubling health and Thunderstorm would upgrade enemies?
There's not enough dialogue for I would have been your daddy to be cool. But Mythic, I don't think I'm allowed to answer that question yet. But you've kind of got the general idea. Like, there were skulls that would cause one level of elite to jump up to the next level of elite, basically. So, like, things like that did not make the cut.
Okay. Thank you.
Dan, on a appris que vous parliez français. Alors, on a une petite question pour vous. On est venu de la France jusqu'ici pour vous la poser.
Oh, that wasn't English.
No, that's. I think Ben, you're gonna
I
need
think
to take that
I
one.
think
Ben,
Dan
you're
is
up.
the only one to talk in French.
All right, I got this. Let's do it.
Master Chief, est-ce qu'il porte plutôt des boxers ou des caleçons? C'est la question.
Bon, ben, c'est une très bonne question. Alors, la question, je pense que ça dépend de la journée, en fait. C'est très difficile. Quand on se lève le matin, on ne sait pas qu'est-ce qu'on va faire aujourd'hui. Alors, je pense que ça dépend de sa journée.
I hope you all learned
Show off.
Thank you for the French.
Yes.
Et bonjour à tout le monde de la France et merci d'être venu.
Merci Dan.
Merci à vous autres. And I still haven't sweared. I just want to call that out. That is fucking
Do we want to share the answer with the rest of everyone who maybe doesn't speak?
Yeah, so the question was, does Master Chief wear boxers or briefs? So I made a piece of fiction up on the fly, and I just basically said it depends what day of the week it is.
They call him a commando.
Some days you need a little more support, Alice. That's all I'm saying.
Hi. So, when I think of Halo 1, even more so than the campaign, I almost think
Closer
of
to
it-
the mic, please. Sorry.
Sorry. When I think of Halo 1, even more so than the actual campaign, I almost think of it as the definitive competitive console shooter, and I was kind of wondering what was behind not putting Xbox Live functionality into the Halo Anniversary.
So we've talked about this a little bit before. We're going to do a deep dive on that. So I actually recommend you come back for the Halo Anniversary multiplayer panel tomorrow. I believe it's 12:45 tomorrow afternoon. So we'll be able to answer that question and a lot more.
And I also was wondering if
we got to keep it to one question. I'm sorry. We just got to give other people more time to come through.
Did you leave the burn? He burned those questions. Give him a chance. One more. Give him a chance. He asked the
We
question.
shot his question down. Let's give him
Come
a
on.
David Ellis.
I was
Sorry,
also
David.
wondering,
Throw me
I
under
just
the
wanted to
bus.
make sure this is real. Did you guys make any conscious effort to patch up any glitches, or is it just as is?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that we get that question a lot.
Yeah.
The game is shipping bugs and all. So the bugs you remember from the original Halo will be in Halo Anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just want to start off by saying that I think everyone, all you guys at Bungie, 343, and Microsoft, you guys are amazing. I appreciate everything you guys do, and I've been a
Thank
loyal
you.
fan since 01. But,
That's the greatest question ever.
I had a question about the Forge. Is there any new changes or updates to the Forge, like such as copy and paste, select all, snap to objects, things like that, of that nature?
You're asking about multiplayer, I believe.
Yeah,
and-
we've actually answered that question a couple weeks ago on the Halo Bulletin. We talked a little bit about that all the multiplayer maps that launch as part of Halo Anniversary will have 2 different map variants, and we've done that through Forge, and you'll actually be able to use those Forge items to actually you create your own different versions of it. So there will be some extra Forge functionality in that. For any of the other stuff, tomorrow the multiplayer panel is your best bet.
Not really a question, but just out of curiosity, what was your guys' favorite mission to work on?
I'll start at the end.
All right.
You start, Melra.
SC, Silent Cartographer.
Assault in the control room.
They're all. I would probably say Truth and Reconciliation.
I'm definitely a Silent Cartographer fan as well.
So I just love to see the progress we made on library, because for me, I didn't enjoy the original version all that much, and so to see what we've done in the anniversary, I think is pretty exciting.
I won't lie, that wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go back with Silent Cartographer. I mean, the beach for me, it's just too cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this time around for me, actually, you guys haven't had a chance to see it yet, but 2 Betrayals is looking fantastic.
Oh, yes. It does look
Man,
good.
you're giving away all the levels in the game, Ellis.
Do you remember me at all, Shishka? Yeah. Okay, so we've definitely seen kind of an evolution in campaign from Halo 2, Halo 3, ODST. At what point, when you decided that you were going to come back with an anniversary edition, did you decide that you were going to go with the original physics engine and back engine instead of doing kind of like a hybrid, so like mixing the newer parts with the older stuff that could merge together?
I'd say that was we're very early on in the process. We've always thought of the game as being iconic, and to change any of those components, which made it so iconic to begin with, was just not worth it. And so for us, I mean, right from the very beginning, we just none of that's going to change. We need to figure out a way to create a kick butt product that doesn't change that stuff. And so yeah, it was really never even an option. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think this is going to be our last question of the day.
Will Halo Anniversary only be Xbox 360 only, or will it be ported to the PC at all?
Yeah, I mean, so at this point, all the conversation is around celebrating the initial console release. So yeah, nothing more to talk about beyond that.
Okay, fair enough.
All right, thanks again, everyone, for coming out this afternoon. We'll
Thank
see you
you very much,
tomorrow
everybody.
for final
Thanks very
day of
much,
Halo
guys.
Fest. The next panel we have, of course, is tomorrow morning, the Paramount Theater, 10 a.m. Halo 4. And we'll see you then. We don't have pens.